Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and we head down to the coast for some big news out of the USL-W League. And it is also big news for South Georgia Tormenta FC as they have announced that TFC Academy forward Elise Holcey has joined 17 years old, national history, the inaugural signing across the entire USL-W League, which kicks off before we know it in May of 2022. Elise, thanks for hanging out with us here at SDH for a 1v1.
Thank you for having me here.
So let's go to the beginning and kind of work our way forward here a little bit. How did you get interested in playing soccer in the first place?
I grew up playing all kinds of sports, and soccer is the one that really grabbed my attention the most. And my first memory of playing like with the soccer ball is with my grandma and my grandpa, and we were playing outside on the field with my younger sister too. And I just remember seeing my grandma fall, and I thought that was really funny. So I think that's why I remember it the most. But just the feeling that I get with soccer compared to other sports is why I stuck with it.
So I know that growing up, we all have those posters on our walls, or we have those video searches that we do on YouTube that we always continue to go back to and look at. Who is that poster on your wall? Who are those players growing up that you sat there and said, I want to be like insert name here someday?
My top two were Abby Wambach and Carly Lloyd. I always looked at how they played because they were usually forward, or, Carly Lloyd was in the midfield. But I just loved how they played, and I tried to be like them.
I was going to say, so how much of your game is either Abby's or Carly's as you have grown and are now in your high school years? How much of Wambach and Lloyd is in Elise?
I'm probably 25% Wambach, or maybe a little more than that. But then the other 75 is Carly Lloyd. Just because I've watched her longer since she was in there a bit longer than Wambach. But I really liked how she played more. It was just more direct in my eyes.
And so as you've continued to grow and become more experienced in the game, right now you're attending Savannah Arts Academy, but you joined the TFC Academy back in 2019. What's it been like for you over the last couple of years to see the sport grow there on the coast where you can jump into an academy and can be a flag bearer for it?
It's really great because back before, like when I first joined Tormenta, there was no women's team anywhere that you could even try to join without having to move. So having it locally, and now it's a big thing and I get to be a part of it. So it's really great.
Do you think of yourself as a role model? I know that you look at what Abby Wambach and Carly Lloyd have done for the national team, but for a growing part of soccer here, not just in Georgia or in the Low Country, but really here in the Southeast, do you think of yourself as a role model in that regard now with USL-W?
I do, and I'd say I always have because I am older, and a lot of younger teenagers do look up to the older ones because we've all done that. And just playing with the younger kids too. And I've been told by some people like my daughter watches you play and stuff. So it's very touching. And yes, I do see myself as a role model.
I was going to say, when you have those parents come up to you and they sit there and say, well, my daughter watches you and wants to be like you. I mean, that obviously that's a lot of responsibility, not just on the field, but in person and off the field. We get into the role model thing and we talked about that a little bit. I mean, that's got to be cool, but at the same time, that's a lot of stuff that you've got to manage there for someone who's 17, 18 years old.
Yes, it's not really a problem that I have them managing it because I don't know. I don't think I think about it as much. Like I don't stress over being a role model. I just behave how I do. And so far people have liked it. So
how do you balance your time? And I know that this is something that's really important when you're in your high school years and knowing what's going on with Savannah Arts Academy and the demands that they have on you academically, how do you balance your time to continue to grow your game athletically, be a part of something with Tormenta, which is, 45 minutes away outside of Savannah? You have to head to the west a little bit. How do you balance and navigate your time, knowing that you want to continue to do things athletically, continue to grow there, but at the same time be as academically sound as you can?
So I do put school first when I'm doing everything. And then I would go into my training right after school or after lunch. And then I would come to the practices here. I try to go to practice every night that I can. And then I can also balance out a little bit of social life too on the Fridays when there is no soccer, have a little break day. And I usually just do it. I would write down my schedule and make sure that I'm locked in for the week.
Who's your role models that got you to be that regimented when it came to being the person that you are? Who are the folks that made sure that you were on that right path?
Definitely my mom. She's always making big schedules for everybody, and she's got everything put together. So it was very easy for me to follow.
What's it like being a part of Tormenta Futures as a coach and mentoring those that are between the ages of 2 and 10? Because I think that's another cool aspect in all of this, where you're a part of the Tormenta family, that you're already a futures coach in all of this. What's it like being that mentor to children that are so young, that are just learning the game?
When I first thought about coaching the younger kids, I was a little intimidated because they are younger and they speak their mind. So I was like, oh, but it's so nice. Just watching them run around and being so happy playing soccer, it reminds you of back when you used to play and just chase the ball all day. And they have so much energy and they're always happy too. So it's great.
So you joined TFC Academy 2 seasons ago, but now USL-W comes online. When you first heard that USL-W was coming online and that Tormenta was going to be a part of that, what was your initial reaction?
I was saying finally, because they've had the men's on it and we finally get the women's.
When it comes to the growth of the game, I know that we've talked about it from that role model sense, but when it comes to the growth of the game, you're going to be one of these flag bearers that's going to be right there for a franchise that has been there in a growth market, in a growth pocket. So, and it's another aspect of all of this, where you're front and center for something that can be very, very special coming out of the blocks with USL-W. I mean, how does that make you feel? I guess it goes back to all of the role model stuff that we were talking about, but being a flag bearer, being front and center, you're the first signee of this league. I mean, that's some heavy stuff. That's some big stuff that you're looking at here.
I do see it as a really big deal and I'm very happy for it, but I don't feel stressed out about it or any pressure, I guess. I'm just really excited. So I guess that's overweighing everything. But I'm ready for it to start, and I'm ready to start training with everyone.
So we know that May is going to be here before we know it. But when it comes to your game, what do you need to think? What do you need to work on, do you think, as a member of the Tormenta side here, before you get to the next level? And then knowing what your aspirations are, what do you think you need to work on where Tormenta can help you there?
My techniques. Because they've brought me a long way so far with my techniques, and just knowing myself, I know that I can do a lot more, whether it's my finishing skill, getting it on point every time, or just my competitiveness, or my foot skills. Tormenta can bring it up for me.
Let me go into 2 more role models that are associated with what's going on there in Statesboro. Let me ask you about a Van Tassel in particular, and what it means to be there and have Miss Nitra be a part of the extended family that is Tormenta. What's it been like to be around Miss Nitra and Nitra Van Tassel over these last couple of years?
She's so nice and she's so sweet with everything, and she cares a lot for soccer. She has the same passion as we do when we play. And I know she's going to be really great when we're in the games and everything. She's very supportive too.
So have you fallen victim to the cell phone rule when it comes to eating there at the clubhouse? That the cell phone has to be in a bucket, and you can't use your cell phone when you're eating?
I did not know that.
Okay.
That makes so because I did have a friend on the team, and there was like zero communication whenever it came time to the Statesboro. So that makes sense.
Well, and once again, it's all about interpersonal communication and being there and getting to know your teammates and all that kind of stuff. And that's why, with your time there in Statesboro, that's why I wanted to ask that question. And the other one comes with your new head coach. And when you have a coach that is as established as Coach Robbins is, I know that he's looking forward to you being that flag bearer for Tormenta. I don't know what your interactions have been so far with Coach Robbins, but what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to interacting with him as the USL-W franchise comes on board?
Trying to fill out the plays that he has in his mind. I think that's so fun. Just trying to, when you get a new coach and you see how they want the team to play, and you get to like be the missing puzzle in their piece that they're trying to, or you get to be the missing piece in their puzzle that they're trying to put together. It's very fun because then I get to adapt and like learn a whole new way to play, and I can add it into my book of ways that I play.
So then my last question for you, and thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate this. When it comes to USL-W as a league and as it grows, and we all know that the big splash that's going to be there when it comes to May and all of the buildup, if there is a young soccer player that you might pass on the street on a sidewalk or sit there casual conversation, what would you say to that soccer player that could share in the same opportunity that you are being a part of USL-W? What would you tell these young soccer players about USL-W so they could be going through those same steps that you are?
Don't quit. Because whenever you quit, you'll realize how close that you actually were to fulfilling your goal that you wanted to do. And don't let other people influence your decisions either. Like if you want to do it and you really have your mind set to it, pursue it.
Elise, thanks for hanging out with us here for a Soccer Down Here 1v1 as South Georgia Tormenta makes history, signs the TFC standout as the first player in the W League for the USL. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Soccer Down Here. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on things and keeping an eye on everything South Georgia Tormenta this upcoming May. Thanks for hanging out with us on the show.
Thank you.